when you start to outgrow your partner, this is the truth, is like relationships are sort of like we each take turns growing and expanding and inviting our other partner to join us. So it might be my turn one time and then Kylie's turn another time, but we learn and we grow and we expand. And really relationships are all about having this invitation to each other to, but this is the issue. This is the challenge that a lot of people have is they say, well, when I got married, I committed to forever. Awesome, that's really great. But here's the challenge with that, is that marriage is a word, and words are defined, but if we don't actually go to the length of defining what that word means for us, then we will be getting married under different agreements. So I know we talk about vows, but how many people just repeat vows they're given, or they hear some good vows and they're like, shit, I'll use that one, that one's good. But we have to really think about what we're agreeing to, and we haven't put this much thought into it. We haven't put this much commitment into it. So I want you to remember that when you are starting a relationship, you have to have those conversations like, what are we agreeing to? What happens if one of us does begin to grow and expand and go in a different direction? How do we have the conversations that maintain this relationship because as a couple, you each have an individual set of beliefs, needs, and what your passions are. And that's your own identity. And then together, you build a path together. But each of you has a road, and you have to decide to build your roads in the same direction. Now, of course, you're going to converge and you're going to diverge. And it's about having those conversations as you feel yourself growing apart that says, hey, I miss us. I need us. What's going on with us? How do I bring you back? How do you bring me back? And that's the conversation that needs to happen. Now, to the conversations I've been hearing, which is, well, when you get married, you make that growth, and isn't love about staying and allowing the other person to catch up and grow too? Yes, and. Yes, and. And the reason I say and is because whenever you grow and you're like learning a ton of shit and you're like, man, I wish I could share this with my partner. You might have married someone or started a relationship when you didn't even think that way. When your relationship was not about communication and growth. You were like two 20-year-olds wanting to hump. Like that happens. Or you were just young people who just didn't know what you wanted and what you were doing. And that's what everyone did, is they just got married. Or just started a relationship. This doesn't have to be about marriage, but it often comes back to it because people say, but that's the commitment you made. Yes, and when we start to grow and outgrow our partner, we say to our partner, hey, look, I feel like I'm going in this direction and I love you and I really care about you and I want you and I to create a direction together where we can have these conversations. And then the person says yes, or they say no. Now, the people we're talking about are the people who say no. I have, in all of my experience thus far, I might be proven wrong one day, but I'm confident that this will almost always be true. When a partner says, I need this from you, and the other partner says, I'm not willing to read that book, I'm not willing to read the book, I'm not willing to go to therapy, I'm not willing to get coached, I'm not willing to do the things you need from me in order for us to get on the same page. Right away when that happens, the relationship is, the message we've sent is, our relationship is not important to me. You're not important to me. And that doesn't mean that's what you meant, but that's the message you send. So if your fear is, I don't want to figure out what my bullshit is, I don't want to deal with my shadow and my bullshit and my childhood and all this stuff, that's okay that you have that fear. But if you want to keep your partner, you got to move towards what your edge is. You got to move towards what you're scared of. So if your partner's saying, I'm doing this scary shit, I'm learning some serious shit about myself, and we're saying, yeah, that's great, but I don't want to do that scary shit, and I don't want to go to my edge, that's okay. They're allowed to say that. But you can only hold for so long. That's my message, is you can hold and you can say, babe, come with me. Join me here. I love us. I want to move us. I want to create us. And they go, no. I don't. And we can hold for a bit, but we cannot stay because we can't stay still. We can't stay stagnant and we can't stop our growth because we will be smudging our light. We'll be putting out ourselves. And the moment you stop growing, you start dying. And so it's really about being able to stay present to, at what point in this relationship am I now abandoning myself? That is where you know that you've gone the wrong way. That's when you know you're starting to lose you to keep them. And the moment you lose you to keep them, you're losing. You're fucked. And I say that with love, but it's true because now you've said keeping this relationship together and pleasing this, I'm going to stay together forever commitment I made. It's now causing me to lose myself. So there's a lot of dialogue on that video I did, but this is what the important part is. I really want to say this to you because it's so important to get. Because old dialogues about relationships and marriage are based on previous designs of marriage and relationships. So there's another part I really wanted you to hear, and this really good friend of mine, Christina Crow, who's on Instagram, she was saying that when one partner leaves the relationship, they're seen as the bad person. She's a psychotherapist. But what I love what she said in relation to this is the person who says no to growing and disconnects in the relationship left before. And I love that. I thought that was so beautiful to hear. Like, yeah, we all often have this idea that the person who leaves or the person who whatever is the one who's guilty. But that's not true. They're the one who took the harder road. When someone disconnects in the relationship, they've also left the relationship. I thought that was a really beautiful way of saying that.